That was a really bad day.
I was like completely disgusted with the whole thing. Complete shock. I went to the vigil that evening. Both Luke and I did. And we were going through the names of the people that they had known who had died. And I said that first name, and then after that I couldn't say anything. I was just... It's like so close to home, even though it's in Orlando, for something like that to happen. Yeah, I don't know, it's such a heavy subject. And I still feel it today, like when we went to Dr. Call's show, and like he was showing video of like shootings and stuff like that, and talking, and like newsreels of it, like it's so important for that to be spread as far and wide as possible, to show people like this is happening still to this day, you know? Yeah.
At first I was kind of just like shocked and horrified that like 50 people died at a gay club. Like that's not something that happens every day.
That it wasn't just necessarily a bar attack, that it was a specific attack on LGBT people. I think, especially living where we do, I think people, and myself included, struggled with the idea of feeling safe. Because if this can happen in Orlando, what's stopping it from happening somewhere else? It's not like it happened halfway around the world in a third world country, it happened in Orlando.
Orlando affected me in the way that, one, just as a gay person, it was a reminder of how frightening it is to be gay in this world, and that even though we are a long, long way away from the Stonewall days, and the movement has had progress and we are more visible in the world, it reminded me that we're still not seen, and that we still have a lot to fight for and a lot that we need to stand up for.
My reaction, obviously right away, just devastation and grief, because people are just going to have a good time and go out and do things, socialize with friends, dance. And for that to happen, it's just devastating. It's just what it is. I mean, it's so horrible that is still a problem, that's still an issue in our society. And I feel like it's hard because I feel like as a society, when something bad happens like that, we all point fingers. Well, you're the bad guy. Well, he's a Muslim, like it's the Muslims. Or like, well, it's the gun control, it's this. And we kind of don't listen or don't understand or don't really sit down and be like, okay, why is this happening? Why is this happening?
It was obviously really devastating, and like I was actually at work at the time. Kind of affected me more throughout the day, and my workplace was actually super understanding of the situation, so that was really helpful. And they actually let me leave early so that I could go to a vigil at the legislative building. Yeah, there was like a huge vigil at the legislative building, and they had like a ton of speakers, and it was really sad. But I mean, as dreadful and shitty as the event is, like it brought so many people together. So looking like on a positive note, as negative as that is, like something good always comes out of something negative, and like it brought so many communities together all over the world, like in one night. All over the world, people were doing vigils and like having candle ceremonies and stuff. So I feel like it's been a really long time since that's happened, and like all the communities have come together for one thing.
I definitely struggled with feeling safe going out after it happened, and I think I also felt definitely upset that someone would do that, and upset that in today's day and age, people are still feeling the need to attack people based on things like sexual orientation, and you never know, it could be race, it could be something else. It's kind of sad that we haven't moved past that yet. For myself, at least, I think it made me stop and think about things. I don't know that necessarily it's going to change how I live my life. There's awful things happening all the time in the world, and I think if we live our lives in constant fear that something's going to happen, then we're missing out on potential opportunities.
It definitely made me feel a little bit more cautious. Like our local bars may be like a safe space. You never really know what could happen. And like definitely made me appreciate the like friends that I had, because if that would happen to any of them, like I don't even know how those people's friends or family are feeling. So definitely got together with like everyone I loved that day.
It's different when it's somebody that you can relate to very closely. I'm very privileged. I'm white, I'm a male, obviously, so like lots of these things I understand, and I feel very sympathetic to people who are targeted and who are dying on a very regular basis, but it never hit so close to home before that could have been me, you know. I never really thought about my life as being at risk, and then all of a sudden I realized that there's people out there that want me dead. They don't know who I am, I don't know who they are. It could be some random dude walking down the street who decides to like pull a knife one day, you never know. So it's kind of really eye-opening, if nothing else. I took what I had for granted. I was very comfortable where I was, and that kind of really shook me up and made me aware of the situation, and we're not as a society as far along as I thought we were. There's still so much like hate and animosity and bigotry that's just goes on behind the scenes that we don't see out on the streets every day. So it's just yeah, I'm a lot more aware of these things than I was before, and I think like it's horrible to say that it's not a good thing that it happened, but I think it made a lot of the general public aware of the climate. And like there's tons of people who have never even talked about LGBT rights or the community at all that are all of a sudden, you know, it's plastered all over the media. They have no choice but to talk about like how these people are being treated and why it was a gay club that got targeted, all these types of things. So I think even the fact that we're having this kind of conversation in like mainstream media is really important. And I feel like I hope things change for the better. I hope it's not something that just dissipates and fades into the past.
And it's just so horrible that 49 people had to die. Had to die for people to pay attention and listen and understand this is going on. People are still not listening in anything. If it's Black Lives Matter movement, if it's homophobia and religion, if it's terrorist attacks, like people just aren't listening to people. And that's just the big problem. Like, it's just crazy to me that something like that is possible to happen. And it's sad. It's sad because you think we'd be evolved from there. But we're not, and that's why it's so important to like speak up and talk about it and be like, hey, look, this thing is actually happening. Like you can't be like, oh well, you know, we're in Canada, so no one would ever shoot a club here. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where it is. It's still the issue is still all around the world globally. It's just education. I feel like that is the forefront of. We're not educated enough. Our education system, we either pass or we fail. There's no kind of variance to be able to fail, to learn from that. In critical thinking, and it just puts a precedent of being like, if I'm wrong, I've failed. I am not good enough, so I'm not going to admit that I was wrong. It's just such a sad thing to happen. I mean, it's horrible. It's a horrible way to die, and like it's just a horrible situation for someone who's just trying to be themselves, right?
I think that we've become comfortable with accepting what we are given in this world, and that, you know, we get the right to marry, so we then decide to take a step back and quiet our voices because we don't want to make too much noise, and we just, don't want to stir too much stuff up. But then it's kind of like having an open wound, you're bleeding out, and then putting a Band-Aid on top of it and expecting that to be like enough. We have made progress, and we have made moves, and we have made strides, but we should be so much further along than we are. And I feel like if we stopped taking these strides as something that we're lucky enough to get, and recognizing that there are a basic human right. There is a lot of people in this world who don't agree that it is our basic human right, but we shouldn't be, saying thank you and tipping our hats for people just giving us something that already belongs to us. And I think if we remember that, then this need to be quiet for a bit won't keep happening, because the minute you quiet down, it stops. And then when something like Orlando happens, it's kind of like you're starting the movement all over again, because Orlando happens and people get fired up and people get riled up. But we shouldn't need Orlando to happen to remind people that we just need to keep being persistent in I don't know. Orlando just shouldn't be happening in 2016. It shouldn't.
A change I would like to see would just be, I think most importantly, is like safety. Like, everyone should have the right to be safe in their own skin or wherever you're going, and not feel that sense of like caution and feeling like you should be like warned. I feel like everybody has the right to be safe, and somebody shouldn't be able to take that away from you. And I mean, obviously it's not going to be an easy thing, and maybe it won't happen in my lifetime, and there is obviously lots of shitty things that happen all over, but I really think that you should be able to feel like safe leaving your house to go do whatever. So that would be something I would hope to see, hopefully.
Been kicked around and lost and found, wondering how I'm gonna make it. Been talked about, been hated on, no longer will I smile and fake it. When you're feeling like the world is on your shoulder, and no one's around to hold you when it's colder. Been praying but you still can't find the answers. Believe it gets better. I am more than what you make of me. I am stronger than my history. I am falling but I will rise again. You tried to kick me down, but I am still standing. I am still standing. My heart's a soldier marching for love, and I will show you just what I am made of. What you think of me is not my concern, so I will take your words and just let them burn. Said I am
strong and I will keep moving on,
and I will
pick myself up and just dust it off.
Said I am
strong and I will keep moving on,
and I will
pick myself up and just dust it off.
'Cause I am more than what you make of me. I am stronger than my history. I am falling but I will rise again. You tried to kick me down,